maybe you don't know either, but how much of that is your two freshmen stepping up and making a lot of plays at camp?
Well, I think it's, kind of all the above. I think we have depth in the receiver room, and Davion, of course, is a really good receiver and a good football player, but a really good athlete, one of the best athletes we have on the team. And so naturally, we want to find a way to get our best players involved, either side of the ball. And there's no question between London and Junior, the young guys that came in, have shown the ability to make plays. And you kind of know that in the recruiting process with their athletic ability and all that. But as a freshman, it's more about how fast can I learn the playbook and the schemes and what you're really trying to do. And the exciting part about those two is they're talented kids, but they're really smart football players. They really understand what we're doing, and still got a lot to learn, but they're ahead of the game from a maturity standpoint and age standpoint. And so you're exactly right. That helped be able to make that decision.
What were kind of your key takeaways from the offense's performance in the scrimmage?
Well, I thought we did a good job taking space. We talk a lot about just taking what the defense has given us, and sometimes there's space in the box, and sometimes they're loaded boxes. And I just thought operationally we did a nice job. I thought the quarterbacks did a good job of putting the ball in play, and that's the exciting part right now for us. We have a lot of guys that can make plays with their ball in the hand, and we just got to make sure we get them in catchable positions. And it was great to see the receivers get a lot of yards after the catch, and not only the guys catching the ball, but I thought we blocked really well on the perimeter, which is something we really emphasized in the last calendar year, and it was really nice to see.
It seems like, it's early, but Walter Taylor seems like he's making a little bit of a move. What do you think he's improved or showed you guys during camp?
Well, I think first is just understanding the offense, right? He's still a young player, and he came in as a true freshman, didn't get much action, and it was kind of a scout team guy. So got his feet wet in spring, and now through the first couple weeks of fall camp, he's progressing. He's a talented kid. You guys have seen that, so we're really excited about him and his future, and it's good to see him stack some days kind of back to back here, really in the last week.
Junior wasn't like super highly recruited, at least in terms of the offers. I guess why has he been able to make such an impact so early, and does playing for such a loaded team at all, you think, in high school help him there?
That's a good question, and we try as coaches to not really look at the rankings as much and make honest evaluations. And why I say that is I had the opportunity to see him live in spring as junior and thought he was really good. And then I went back with Coach Bailey the second time and saw him again and thought, man, this kid's really good. And then he came over for a 7-on-7, his team. And it was one of those, in-person evaluations are huge. And we saw him that day, and that was, a different type of setting. And it was just every time you were around him, he was the same. It was just really impressive. And then, of course, he went on to do what he did his senior year and win Mr. Football. So I don't really know why he wasn't recruited from an offer list standpoint. But we thought we had a really talented player coming in all along, regardless of who offered him. And he's done nothing but prove us right.
Do you remember that 7-on-7 when he came here? Did he catch 8 touchdowns or something? I heard something.
Yeah, I don't know. I lost count, but it was enough to say that's what we're looking for. Yeah. I remember thinking that.
With Ken Seals being the oldest guy in the quarterback room, how much has he helped everybody else in that room with his experience?
Well, tremendous. He's been through a lot, and he has a lot of wisdom, and he's willing to share it. I mean that, and he has been so valuable for us in the room and the young players in that room, and he continues to get better himself. I mean that, and the guys trust him, listen to him, and he's kind of like an extension of us coaching staff, to be honest with you. And there's no doubt that sometimes even when a player or a person in your position group is reiterating what the coaches say, it's really impactful, and he does a tremendous job at that.
How do you coach tempo in a fall camp situation? Obviously at the scrimmage a couple of days ago, but how do you coach it in practice?
Well, it's a fine line. It's what are you trying to emphasize within each team period, right? So a couple team periods a day was just run, play, action, pass. So there was no tempo involved, whether you had a big play or not. Everything was 1st and 10. Then at the end of practice, we actually try to get 3 tempo plays into a situation. So you try to manufacture that as a coaching staff. There's nothing like playing just put the ball down and going in and out of tempos to make it real. But it's something you want to practice. But when you go 24 periods, you also don't want to kill your guys, depending on what you want to do, throughout the course of practice. So we got to do a good job as coaching staff and understand how that taxes the guys. But I think Coach Lee does a really good job of managing all that.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Do the new clock rules, like, do you have to teach the team that, or does that change anything? Or since it doesn't actually involve the play clock, is it just kind of?
Yeah, it's going to change some things, but not as dramatically as I think people think. And so we're talking through that, but that's really for us as a staff to manage more so than the kids.
Are you starting to get any separation in the running back room from a player, maybe a group of players?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think the three guys. I call them the older guys. I know Seti's not old, but between of course Cheeks and Chase and Seti, all three of them have had a really good camp. I mean, they're really consistent guys, and they're all going to play. And I think they all can play at a high level. And we talk about all the time that at back sometimes you get in, whoever has a hot hand might get a little bit more action as the game goes. But those three guys can play at any down and distance. Whether it's first down to third down, which we feel really good about. And then even AJ Newberry, this young freshman, I think is doing a really nice job as well. But we're gonna all those guys, those top three, they're gonna play, and we're excited about it.